with his disciples, and there's one particular disciple he interacts with, and it's Peter. Do you remember anything about Peter? What was the particular thing about Peter in conjunction with the crucifixion? Peter did what? He denied Christ. Boy, I mean, let's be honest. We read that and we kind of look at that and we go, man, how could a guy do that? I want to challenge you on something. Every time we commit a sin, you know what we're doing? We're denying Christ. Don't think Peter's some oddity. He is the norm. Now think about what's happening there. It said that when Jesus asked him the third time, he was greatly grieved. Why? Because Jesus is forcing him to go back to that moment and relive that moment where he not only denied Christ once, not only did he deny Christ twice, he did it 3 times just like Christ told him he would. He did what he thought he would never do. He did what he promised, even to Christ. I will never do that. Never. And yet he did it. Gentlemen, how many times have you promised God something that you'd never do, but you did it? You thought you'd never go that far with a sin. You thought you'd never end up in that situation. We describe those moments in our life. It just happened. Things that we said we'd never do. Things that we've done that we've even now come back and we've prayed over and we've gone, God, I'm done with it. I'm sick of it. I don't want to ever do it again. And I'm not. I'm never going to do it again. And 2 weeks later, we do it again. Now, guys, here's what I want you to hear. I don't care where you're at. I don't care what you've done. But if you've messed up, would you fess up? Would you be willing to listen to God speaking to your heart like that and saying, do you love me? And just get honest enough to say, you know what? Man, I struggle at it, but I tell you what, I'm going to give everything I've got and I'm going to do it right now today. When I surrendered to Christ at 17, I had a mountain of sin that I was confessing, and I was surrendering to Christ and saying, please take it away. You know what I am? I'm 50 years old now. You know what? My mountain has grown exponentially because now my understanding of sin has even grown more so. So I'm a bigger sinner today than I was when I got saved. But you know what? His grace is bigger today than it was then as well. You're the screw up. You're the problem. You didn't mess up, you are the mess. And shame then locks us into that pattern of repetitive sin over and over and over and over. And that's why often we can promise God we won't do it and we turn around and do it again because we never dealt with the reality of the shame that was locking us in to begin with. Well, that's what Jesus came and died on the cross for. Was to not only take the guilt, but to break the shackles of shame. When we put our trust in Him, He's providing us that avenue to do so. He loves you guys. And all God wants out of you is for you to love Him right where you're at. He doesn't need you perfect. That's His job to get you there. In fact, if you're perfect, you don't need Him. Guess what? You need Him.